Hey boys, welcome to my Origin Game 1 sort of discussion, thoughts, that sort of stuff. I'm going to be talking about the game, my opinions, and all that sort of stuff. So the video might go on for a little bit, so strap yourself in. I was thinking about doing, I was going to talk about the team, Queensland's team as well, but that's going to be a separate video because I've got a lot to talk about with that one. But I'm just going to talk about the game for a moment here. So pretty much, you know, I was going to do this video earlier, but yeah, I just haven't had time to really. But the game overall, you know, as much as it hurts me to say, you got to give it to New South Wales there. They were definitely the better team. You know, and the good thing about that game was it wasn't a game where we could complain about the rest, complain about decisions. I don't think there was one contentious call in that whole game. You know, the rest pretty much put the whistle away. There might have been a couple of things that probably would have been penalised in the NRL from both sides. Like, you know, both teams did a couple of, you know, lazy high tackles that weren't penalised, and I much prefer that. I much prefer games like that. There were like a couple of penalties the whole game. I think the refs did a good job, kept the speed up, and the first half, the first half of that game was one of the best first half of footies I have seen, honestly. I know New South Wales ran away with it at the end, but Queensland played pretty darn well in that first half, I gotta say. New South Wales did obviously as well. But that try just before the break or right on halftime, it was a big game changer, honestly. You know, if they didn't score that, the score might not have been any different, but you know, scoring right on the break, it definitely puts a lot of confidence into the team, and that's how it looked in the second half. Queensland were a bit flat. But yeah, the first half, I thought both teams played really well, and it wasn't, you know, obviously there wasn't many points scored, but overall, like, the attack was pretty good from both sides. I thought Queensland could have scored a couple of tries. They exploited Jared Haynes' defense. I thought he was, you know, I know people are rapping Hayne a lot, and obviously he got on the top of O'Neill, who I'll discuss O'Neill in the next video where I talk about the Queensland team. But yeah, he got on top of O'Neill a bit in that second half, but his defense, like, people aren't really talking about his defense. It was pretty weak. A lot of, like, Queensland obviously only scored one try, but I thought they could have scored a few more down that side. Hayne just came up with a fair few poor decisions, but you know, they didn't quite capitalise. New South Wales also could have probably scored a couple more tries in that first half, but some good defence by the Queenslanders. And yeah, it was tight game. Second half, I don't know what happened. Just New South Wales got on a roll. Queensland just, I don't know, they looked a bit out on their feet, and the momentum just carried them through, honestly. And losing Milford at like the 50 or 60 minute mark was a huge letdown, because I honestly thought Milford was playing very, very well. His defense was solid. You know, I thought he defended really well. You know, having Frizzell running at him all game, defended brilliantly, honestly, and his attack was looking real slick. He was looking very, very dangerous every time he touched the ball. And when he went off, it was a big problem, because I thought, honestly, even though obviously New South Wales, you know, got on top before Milford got injured or concussed, and you know, they had a bit of a lead, but I still sort of felt a little bit confident that, you know, Milford can cause some damage here. Queensland, they can score some points, but as soon as Milford went off, their attack just sort of didn't go anywhere. Morgan obviously went into 5'8", and I really don't think Morgan. Like I said, I got a lot to talk about for the Queensland team, and but I don't like Morgan as a utility. It just showed, like, I don't think he's good enough to come on as the 5'8" if someone gets injured, and I don't think he provides too much impact off the bench, but we'll discuss that later. Obviously Pierce went off at the same time. It was a very weird circumstance, like the exact same play, they both went off, but they didn't actually collide with each other. Fucking, it was a weird bit of play. And you might say, obviously, that's his bigger issue for New South Wales, but honestly, I think losing Milford was a much bigger deterrent than losing Pierce for New South Wales, because New South Wales didn't win the game on the back of Pierce. Now, I don't know what people are really saying about Pierce's performance. I haven't really looked at like too many people's opinions on the game. But watching the game, I really didn't think Pierce played very well. I know Sterling, when Pierce went off concussed, Sterling was rapping him galore. Like, obviously, because Sterling is involved with the New South Wales team. But he was carrying on, like, best performance Pierce has played. I didn't think Pierce played that well. His kicking game, I thought, was garbage. For some reason, they kept bombing to Corey Oates, but the bombs weren't dangerous. Like, Corey Oates, like, I know Corey Oates a couple of games has had problems with his the high balls, but they're not just from punt bombs. Like, those bombs aren't going to cause Corey Oates any issues. There was never any pressure on him, and just kicking down the throat of Corey Oates, like, he was making big ground every time in that first half, and I thought the kicking game was awful by Mitchell Pearce. He didn't play, like, the rest of his game, he didn't play bad, but I just thought they were carrying on a little bit, and I didn't think Pearce really controlled the game like I thought he might have. But getting back to the second half, honestly, you got to put it down to two players. I think, like I said, I don't think Queensland were that far off. The scoreline blew out, but it was really on the back of two players, and that is James Tedesco and Andrew Fifita. The most notable there, Fifita, in my opinion, he caused a lot of damage, set up a couple of tries, scored a try. Oh, fucking O'Neill dropping the ball, and Tedesco as well just looked dangerous every time. Scored a barge over try and just, caused a lot of damage at the back there, returning kicks. And those two players, they were the big reason why the scoreline blew out. They just kept getting on top. And that was just a game where things just sort of went New South Wales' way. And not in the terms of decisions. Like I said at the start, the refereeing was fine. There were no 50-50s, stuff like that you can complain about. What I'm talking about is like drop balls and stuff like that. Because Fifita is a classic example of that. Fifita, he's known to drop a few balls, throw a few silly passes, give away a couple penalties. That game, that was easily Fifita, in my opinion, the best game I've ever seen him play. Every offload stuck. I don't think he gave away a penalty. I don't think he dropped a ball. Just things paid off. Like, that sort of stuff doesn't happen all the time, and you can't bank on that happening all the time. Like, Fifita, the way he plays, he's gonna throw the odd loose pass that gets spilled. He's gonna give away the odd penalty, but it just didn't happen. And that sort of momentum killed the Maroons. And yeah, in that second half, we just didn't have the impact to really come back. Milford going off, lost a lot of creativity around the ruck, or in the attacking plays, and that was pretty much it. So Blues overall, a good team performance, best players for Fifita and Tedesco, without doubt, they were the two standouts. And then for Queensland, however, without doubt, the standout player was Dane Gagai. Dane Gagai was absolutely brilliant on a losing team playing on the wing. Like, really, they kept talking about like Tedesco and Fifita break tackles. I didn't see how many bloody Dane Gagai made, but every single run he was brushing off tacklers. He ran for over like 220 odd meters on a losing team, getting, like, at the end they're dominated. Like, that was one of the most dominant winger displays I've seen. And probably the other guy, this probably says a lot about how Queensland played, that Corey Oates is probably the second best player. Corey Oates was extremely strong. Every kick, even though the kicks were pretty bad, took them all, made good ground. Bumped off Frizzell literally every tackle. I gotta say, one one thing, Frizzell, I honestly thought Frizzell was pretty, he wasn't terrible again, like, but I thought Frizzell had like no impact. Like Milford handled it in defense every single run, and Corey Oates just kept brushing him off. It was quite funny, but yeah, those two were probably the best for Queensland. The only other player I can really think of is probably Maguire. I thought Maguire was strong throughout the whole game, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the game, like I keep saying, the game blew out. I know New South Wales people are pretty cock-a-hoot now. Everyone, you know, a lot of people are sort of just thinking this series is over. I do not think so. As a Queenslander, obviously you've got to be confident, but I think Queensland can bounce back. I want them to make some changes to the team, but we'll see what happens with that. I don't know what they're gonna do, honestly, but if they make the changes I want them to make, and Queensland can, you know, just play better, just as a team, just play better, they can cause New South Wales some trouble, because, you know, I think in key positions we still have them beat. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the Origin game. Like I said, it was a pretty good game. Obviously the second half was fairly disappointing as a Queensland supporter, but first half was very good first half of footy, and you know, the rest did a good job. And yeah, congratulations to the Blues. So yeah, that's this video done and dusted. In the next one, that'll probably come up pretty soon, I will be talking about the Queensland team. And the reason why I'm splitting these up is just because if someone doesn't want to watch one or the other, they can just watch one or the other. Otherwise, this video will go on for like 20 or 30 minutes because I got a lot to talk about with the Queensland team. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.